3872323.
LA filing number 160.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. About half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Got Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Lots to do. A lot of me in hour number one. We'll talk a little bit about the Saints rookies as they move forward in their first season in the NFL. It's What If Wednesday in 30 minutes. Tony Vitello headed out west. We'll talk about that at the end of the hour. What's LSU going to do at offensive tackle in this game against a really good Texas A&M defensive front? We'll do that at the top of hour number two. J.D. Piquel with us at 2:15. Our SEC football power rankings coming your way at 2:30. So lots and lots to do. Let's crank it up the way we do every day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
We got a little bit of news earlier today that LSU is going to move forward this season without a former starter on the roster. Ashton Stamps is no longer with the LSU football program. Brian Kelly confirmed that on the SEC coaches teleconference just a few minutes after 10 o'clock this morning. Not earth-shattering news here. When you heard last week that Brian Kelly mentioned Ashton Stamps and Caleb Jackson as guys that they were going to try to keep capped at 4 games to protect their eligibility, that's the writing on the wall that conversation's been had, that those two players wish likely to move elsewhere. They don't want to lose an eligibility that they could perhaps use as a starter somewhere else, and that process starts. Now, some folks decide to stick it around. If we need you, I'll play. If not, I'm moving on. Some folks say, I'm out. And Ashton Stamps has obviously said, I'm out. Ashton Stamps had an interesting path at LSU. He was late into his class as a 3-star addition from Rummel, and he came in and really turned some heads early on in his time on campus. And he ended up becoming a starter as a freshman. He started 4 games for the 2023 team at corner. And last year, he started all 13 games for LSU at corner and was 3rd in the Southeastern Conference in pass breakups. He had 14 of them last year. Never got his hands on an interception, but had 14 pass breakups. But as I mentioned a lot, this is not a shot at Ashton Stamps at all. Ashton Stamps played admirably for LSU in early circumstances for a 3-star recruit. But LSU did not cover well enough really the last 4 years. I've done segments on this. I talked about this after Jordan Travis went nuts against LSU in Orlando. I talked about it. Then when LSU couldn't cover late in the game against USC last year, I talked about it. And I had been adamant, like, this is not the standard that LSU has played to. And Corey Raymond went about changing that. He went and got Mansour Delane, who is well on his way to an All-American season that is going to end in a first-round draft choice. He has been sensational. He went and got DJ Pickett, who was the number 1 cornerback in the country coming out of high school. And he's worked his way into the lineup. And PJ Woodland is kind of taking the route that it looked like Stamps was going to take as the 3-star, maybe a little bit undersized corner who's a pretty good athlete that gets his way to the field. And Stamps didn't play in the opener on defense and played 18 snaps against Louisiana Tech on defense and didn't play on defense after that. So Stamps got beaten out. I don't have another way to say it. And LSU, despite its faults, they are struggling on the offensive line. They do not run the ball well. They don't pass protect all that well. Wide receivers aren't making explosive plays. The quarterback's been a little bumpy here and there. Run game's gotten after them a little bit against Ole Miss and against Vanderbilt. They've covered pretty well, especially on the corners. And Stamps has not been a part of that. So, yeah, like Ashton Stamps could play 3 more games on this team, and he would still have a red shirt. And there aren't that many more games left. You got to play Texas A&M. You got to play Bama. You got to play Arkansas. You got to play Western Kentucky. You got to play Oklahoma. So there's not a lot left. He could theoretically play 3 more games, but obviously Ashton Stamps has made the decision, I've been beaten out here. I don't want to be on this team anymore. I'm going to move on. I don't know that for a fact. It appears to me to be the situation based on what Brian Kelly has said the last 2 weeks. I think Ashton Stamps is a functional SEC player at corner. And he's a third-year player. Is he ever going to be a star at LSU? I think the odds are probably against that. And, you very, very likely have P.J. Woodland and DJ Pickett back next year, although that's always up for debate and up to chance when you get into a transfer portal season. But as long as Corey Raymond is there, and I've said this, as long as Corey Raymond is in Baton Rouge, LSU at defensive back is going to bring in and develop talent. He's just very, very good at that. He identifies it well. He recruits it well. He develops it well. He did it for a better part of a decade in his first run at LSU, and it took him a year to get his feet on the ground and to kind of overhaul things. But you're looking at it right now. And right now, I would suggest that LSU, in terms of the way that they cover on defense, is probably the thing that LSU does the best on the entire roster right now. That's kind of where I am. And Ashton Stamps obviously is going to look elsewhere. I should say I'm incorrect. I just realized this on the stat sheet, so let me correct myself. He could not play in 3 more games. He's only played on defense 1 game. He has played 2 games worth of special teams. So he's played 3 games. He could only play 1 more to preserve his red shirt. So I misspoke in the beginning of that segment, caught myself there. Stamps would only be eligible to play 1 more game to keep his red shirt. Obviously not interested in that, so he's going to move on and likely look elsewhere moving forward. Shea Dixon from On3 had that earlier today. Brian Kelly confirmed it. So Ashton Stamps moving on from LSU's program. But if you look at LSU as far as at defensive back, Delane will be gone after this year. Pickett be a sophomore next year. Woodland be a sophomore next year. DeMarcus Cooley, who's played safety and can play a little bit nickelback as well. He is a redshirt sophomore on this team, so that's a guy who's got more eligibility to play with. And you just count on Corey to continue to bring guys in and to give a look at guys and to develop guys. And you look at behind those guys at this point, there's nothing that's proven, but again, that's just a trust thing that I have in Corey Raymond to go ahead and make sure that those guys continue to develop. So you look at Aiden Anding, who was the number 1 cornerback in the country in the state of Louisiana entering this season. That's a guy you would look to. Jakeem Jackson still has a couple years of eligibility. He hasn't gotten to the field on this team. And then Michael Turner is a redshirt freshman who has not made an impact in his short time on campus. So you're going to need to continue to recruit high-level corners. You're doing that in this current class right now. They have gone out, obviously, to California. I mean, Corey Raymond has a national recruiting brand. That's just very evident. And he's going to be able to go and get national cornerbacks. And so in this class, you've got Haven Finney, who comes from Sierra Canyon out in Southern California. That's a guy that they're very high on, who is right out of the Corey Raymond playbook at 6'2". That's a guy that you feel very, very good about with your evaluation of him. Aiden Hall, probably a safety in this class, but that's another defensive back that they like in this class, and you're going to have to go out and add another corner, and then you're going to have to go into the portal and add more corners. But as I sit here, it's just not one of those deals. Like, that is so far down the list of things that I'm concerned with this LSU program. It's like towards the top of the list in things that I'm confident in this program, that LSU is going to be just fine at cornerback. And if you return next year with P.J. Woodland and DJ Pickett as your 2 outside corners, I think that's a really good foundation to start from, because those 2 guys have played really well, and this is their first year as starters, or guys that play a consistent amount, and they've played very well. So Ashton Stamps will move on. You get the sense that Caleb Jackson's time carrying the football at LSU is probably done, though that wasn't addressed today. You just put him in that bucket with Ashton Stamps. We'll see. Things happen, and you never know what goes on between now and when the portal opens in December, between now and when the spring portal opens after spring football, and then, of course, by the time we get to Labor Day next year, all bets are off. But you just work with what you know, and that's kind of what we feel like at this point. The only other noteworthy happenings from LSU today on the conference call was the update on Bernard Gooden and Whit Weeks. Bernard Gooden did do a little bit on the practice field yesterday. Brian Kelly said he did some individual, did some team stuff as well. They're easing him back in. He didn't give a designation. We'll get that tonight on the Wednesday injury report. Bernard Gooden was eased back in. Whit Weeks right now is in a boot, and he's not able to put weight on his foot ankle area. It's got that bone bruise. I can't imagine, if you're in a boot on Wednesday afternoon, that you're going to take that thing off and be full speed and ready to go on Saturday. I don't know that. We'll get the injury report tonight, but I don't feel good about Whit Weeks' availability for this week against Texas A&M at all. And that's a very difficult pill to swallow when you look at how well A&M runs the ball between a very veteran offensive line and then Reuben Owens in the backfield. They don't have Le'Veon Moss, but they've got Reuben Owens, and we saw what Marcel Reed can do with his feet as well. So it's not great to not have your All-American linebacker in the middle of your defense, and I'm not confirming that he's not playing, but it's my strong suggestion that Whit Weeks will not be on the field on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, Saturday night for LSU. That's just a sense you get from the fact that he's still in a walking boot 3 days to game time. So not a great update as far as the injuries go, but we'll continue to monitor things as the updates come out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night, moving into the Texas A&M game. Renaissance Homes and Pools, they bring you our Wednesday shows each and every week. Talked to my guy Joey Blanchard earlier today, and things can get a little bit crazy with them in the spring and summer. It's busy, it's good. People want to get into those pools. This is not the time people were thinking about pools, but it is a good time to think about pools, because if you want to get into that pool for the spring of 2026, this is a slower time for Renaissance Homes and Pools. They can get in front of you, and you can start that process. Make sure your finances are in order. Get that customization done exactly the way you want it. So when it's time to put that shovel in the ground, you know exactly what your plan is. So contact Joey, 225-252-7745. Again, that's 225-252-7745. You can find all their great work at builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com, and you'll work with Joey directly from start to finish. He is the owner of that company. They bring you our Wednesday shows. All right, got a lot to do over the next hour and 15 minutes. Let's shift gears over to the Saints and look at some of their rookies and how they're playing. Some good, some not as good. We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, highlandig.com is the website. Jonathan Carver and his team, phenomenal folks to work with on the insurance side of things. Looks like we are finding our way to the end of hurricane season there. I saw another update, but it didn't look to be a big threat to the Gulf Coast. So you never know until you know. But it feels like we've gotten through another quiet hurricane season. But that doesn't mean that there's not another one around the corner. And at that point, you're going to want your insurance program to respond properly. So if you've got a January, February renewal of your insurance program, you're a business owner, and you want to make sure that everything is in line as you renew, be proactive. Contact the Highland Insurance Group. Let them audit your current policy. Make sure everything is in place. If it's not, they'll help you fix it. If it is, they'll give you the thumbs up. But more often than not, there are some issues. Those insurance programs can get pretty complicated, and that's where the Highland Insurance Group comes in with their expertise. Check them out here in Baton Rouge online at highlandig.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group, highlandig.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Pinhook Bourbon. We'll have craft cocktails, whiskey samples, previewing the Tigers and the Aggies. Join us for AFR 3 to 6, presented by Pinhook Bourbon.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. our clients come first.
At Luva, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Do What If Wednesday coming up in 15 minutes. If you've got a what if in the Bayou Ford chat, throw it our way. We'll get to a couple of those. I was a little afraid to throw the what if bait in the water on Twitter earlier. We got some of the expected stuff, and we'll see how much we do that and how much we kind of skirt around. But we're looking at them all. So if you've got something you'd like us to talk about, hit us up in the Bayou Ford chat for What If Wednesday. Let's talk some Saints. The Saints have to build through the draft, right? That's the only way to get out of this complete mess. And if you have no confidence in the Saints front office to draft, I understand that. Like I don't have a rebuttal to that. But if you feel like they have no chance in the draft, then what you're suggesting is that they have no chance, period. And then we're just wasting our time and energy talking about them and watching them. I have to cling to some hope. I have to cling to something positive until it's proven otherwise. And you've got to build through the draft. And the Saints did a good job in this draft of essentially standing pat and making their selections. They took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players in this draft. You're never going to take 9 players and get 9 starters out of the NFL draft. But my contention entering the draft, like if you can get 4 guys in this draft that can start, and 1 or 2 of them is a really, really key piece to what you're doing, that's a good foundation. That's kind of what you're looking for. I'd take 6. I'd love 5. 4 is kind of the baseline. Like, you need to make sure you get 4 dudes in this draft that can help you. And so I wanted to start looking at that, being that we're inching towards the halfway point of the season. These stories are not even close to being finally written, but we have some data. So let's get into what these guys have been. And I'm going to use Pro Football Focus as a bit of a tool here to suggest what they're seeing and what I'm seeing. He took Kelvin Banks 9th overall. I would suggest that looks good right now. I would suggest that looks like a good pick. His PFF grade overall is a 66, which is not great, but certainly not a disaster. It's a 65.4 in the passing game, a 64.3 in the running game. I like the fact that there's balance there. You're not woefully deficient somewhere. That's not the case. I don't like the fact that he's got 4 penalties, but I do like the fact that 3 of those were week 2 in Seattle, and he hasn't been flagged since the Seattle game. And his best grades per PFF have been the last 2 weeks. 76.2 against Chicago, and then the week previous, 69.8 against New England. So what I'm looking at here is objectively the penalties have come down, and subjectively the grade from Pro Football Focus has gone up. And you can look at the fronts that they're playing, and, you know, there may have been a couple early that were a little bit better. The Giants are a tough matchup for young offensive linemen. I gotcha. But this is a pick that looks the part and is improving. I like that early on. I'm not here to bang the gavel on any of these guys and declare bust or absolute hit, Pro Bowl or All-Pro or cut. Like, I'm just saying I like where Kelvin Banks is headed at left tackle. Your second pick was Tyler Shuck. You have no information there. None that we can glean. Then you took Vernon Broughton in the third round. Then he got out there for a game, and now he's out, and that's not great. But then you get into these middle round picks. Jonas Sanker, late third round. He's graded 69.6 overall, 64.2 against the run, 68.4 against the pass and his coverage. He's been pretty solid. He's had his moments that haven't been great. Like he's tied with Demario Davis for the most missed tackles on the team, and Demario has a lot more opportunities than him. But he's also been Johnny on the spot. He's been involved in a couple of turnovers. The thing that's bringing that grade down is a 27.8 in tackling. He's got to be better at that. But I like that he's in the right place. I like that he's been involved in some turnovers. I like that he's not afraid to get in there and tackle. Is he a great cover guy at this point? I don't know about that. But he's making some plays. He looks like he's got the instincts to be a quality safety halfway through his rookie season. You don't see a lot of late third-round picks show up and ball out in their first 7 games in the NFL. It happens, but it doesn't happen a lot. I think Sanker is a positive here. Now, we've seen those two guys early and often. Banks, starter from day one. Sanker been thrust into the lineup with injury and retirement. Danny Stutzman was a 4th-round pick out of Oklahoma. And he didn't play early in the season. He's only played in 3 games. And he's only played in 26 snaps. So the sample size is tiny for Stutzman. But they're easing him in, which I like. And he had 16 snaps against the Bears. That was a season high. And he graded 78.5 against the run and an 80.4 in tackling. This is another guy. This is a tiny sample size, and I am not here to overreact with Danny Stutzman on a tiny sample size. But we saw really good things in the preseason, and Pro Football Focus liked what they saw in the season high in snaps against Chicago. They're getting him out on the field. Danny Stutzman, to me, feels like a guy, if I had to guess right now, that he's going to be playing a lot in December. That's what I think. I think Danny Stutzman gets his way to the field in December. And I like what I'm seeing from him early on. It's hard to hit on middle round picks, but Sanker in the 3rd, Stutzman in the 4th feels pretty good right now. Again, not slam dunk starters. Feels pretty good right now the way that they're trending. You also, in the 4th round, took Quincy Riley out of Louisville. Now, his overall grade is not great, 53.9. But his run defense, pretty good in 74.6. Coverage, 49.1, hit or miss. Here are the numbers against Riley according to PFF. They've thrown at him 15 times, 7 completions, 8 incompletions, 1 touchdown there, 1 pass breakup, had the interception, and then had 1 penalty that he was flagged for. Love the interception. Love the play he made on the interception. And I love his tape, and I love the production at Louisville. As I've seen some struggles from Kool-Aid, you kind of know what Alontae Taylor is. I do think and I do hope that Quincy Riley gets more run here in November and December than he has early on. This is a guy that it's a small sample size, and there have been some hiccups, but there's reason to believe here. And let's be candid. I'll do it after this. That's 3 guys in the middle round. Sanker in the 3rd, Stutzman in the 4th, Riley in the 4th. Then you go back to the 6th and you get Devin Neal. Well, we have almost nothing to go off on Devin Neal, but we know that you've lost Kendre Miller for the year, and now Devin Neal is going to get to play. So not all 6th-rounders get a chance for a rookie year evaluation. Plenty of 6th-rounders get cut or end up on the practice squad or don't contribute, maybe play some special teams in coverage. And right now it looks like you're going to get to see Devin Neal play. So now all of a sudden, I'm looking at this draft class, and I get to Molokai, Mataval, the tight end out of UCLA, nothing, Fadil Diggs, tiny little sample size, not worth talking about right now. But I look at Banks, Sanker, Stutzman, Riley, and Neal. That's 5 guys you drafted this year. And I think in November and December, you're going to get a good look at all of them. Banks for sure. Sanker for sure, barring injury. Stutzman, easy to conceive and believe. Riley and Neal, same thing. Like, they're right there on the depth chart, going to play. Not every snap, but will play. So that's a great evaluation period for these Saints rookies. And I didn't even mention Shuck, who, if you made me guess right now, I would suggest is going to get some playing time later in the season. We talked about it yesterday. That's what I think is coming. So there's a really good chance you will get to evaluate multiple games, big sample size. Kelvin Banks, Tyler Shuck, Jonas Sanker, Danny Stutzman, Quincy Riley, Devin Neal. 6 guys. Now, it may not mean a bunch of victories this year. In fact, I'm confident it won't. And it's not to suggest that it's all going to be positive when they're out there. It won't be. But if you got 6 guys out there and 4 of them prove they can do it, you're hitting my baseline. You're hitting my benchmark that I was looking for before the commissioner ever called out a name in April. So that's a positive. There are plenty of times. Isaiah Foskey, he's an example of this. Stanley Jean-Baptiste, he's an example of this. Of guys that got drafted, went to training camp, played in the preseason, and then never helped their first year because the coaching staff knew quickly this guy can't help. Clearly, that hasn't happened with any of these guys I'm mentioning. Shuck is the only one you could perhaps suggest that for, but I think we all realize that they just haven't gotten their best look at him yet, and that's going to come later in the season. But there are busts bad enough that you know in that first training camp and that first season, yep, that's a miss. And sometimes if they're really early picks, they get kept around longer than they should because they're early round picks. But these guys are all getting time. And nobody's knocking on the door of the Pro Bowl right now, but I need development and I need the youth movement to start taking over. And I'm not asking for everybody to hit. Of course, if I could rank them, I'd put Shuck first. Hadn't seen him. You put Banks second. Seen pretty good things. And you might put Vernon Broughton third, and you're not going to see him. But the next 4 guys, Sanker, Stutzman, Riley, and Neal, this is a huge 10 weeks for them. Huge 10 weeks for them. And we'll continue to monitor them as they move forward. But the good news is you are going to get an evaluation. And that doesn't always happen with middle round rookies, especially on a roster that's very good. The Saints roster is not good. It's bad. And once again, it's the beauty of this thing. You've got time. So if you need to pull a linebacker off the field and get Pete Werner down so Stutzman gets some time, fine. You got no space that you feel like Quincy Riley needs to occupy, make some. If Spencer Rattler continues to plateau or falters, give Shuck a look. And I think by the time, first of the year rolls around, we will have a good feeling about all 6 of these guys in terms of what they could or couldn't be. And that's part of the exciting part. You got to cling to hope somewhere. 1 and 6 is not where you're going to be clinging for hope. But these draft picks, maybe, just maybe, are next up. And we're going to get a good look at them throughout the course of the next 2 months. So my thoughts on the Saints there. You can read Ross Jackson stuff at LouisianaSports.net. Of course, you can check out our stuff at Hunt on Saints wherever you find your podcast. Jordan, is there a rookie or two that you want a closer look at, maybe outside of Shuck?
Other than Devin Neal, honestly, because at this point you have no more Kendre, so it's like Devin Neal, and I think his time's going to come. You would like to see Stutzman. The tape I've seen on DeMario, I'm a Twitter warrior, so I'm not really seeing like actual, Jacob Hester tape. But look, from what I've seen from DeMario, it was
Father Time's undefeated.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
It didn't look good, and we already know what we get out of Pete Werner. So yeah, let's ramp Stutzman up a little bit more. But other than Stutzman and, like I said, Devin Neal, I think Jonas Sigurd can play. Quincy Riley, he had his moments against the Patriots, but he shook back against the Bears. So yes. I think they're on the right track, right trajectory compared to the last couple draft classes. Like, we don't even talk about the 23 draft class with Kendre and
some bad stuff.
Yeah, Nick Saldivari, all these guys, Jake Hayner, A.T. Perry. So it's good that these guys are actually contributing. We're not winning, we're not contributing to W's, but it's the building blocks of the foundation. You can't be in a rebuild and don't expect this part of the rebuild. So.
That's exactly right. So we'll see. That's a look at your Saints rookies. Step aside. It's What If Wednesday next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. I sat down to breakfast with David a couple weeks ago and said, hey, what do y'all seeing a lot of? He said, well, there's one thing that we're seeing a ton of. It's houses that were built 90s, early 2000s. They're 25, 30 years old, and they were built with those big jacuzzis, with the standing shower next to it. And if that's the case and you feel like things are a little bit old and dingy, or you maybe don't use that jacuzzi tub and it's a waste of space, well, they can take that shower out, put a linen closet right there, open, close, door, whatever. And then you take that big jacuzzi shower, which takes up a lot of space, put a walk-in shower there. It's part on the closet, part on the bathroom. Who better to call than One Bath and Closets? Get that free consultation with David. Sit down if that's you and you're thinking, yeah, that's exactly what I'm sitting here in. This house was built in 1998 and I don't ever use that jacuzzi. Just have that free consultation. Have the discussion. That part doesn't cost you a cent. David will tell you what they can do to customize things to your exact specifications. You can see pictures of their great work at onebathandclosets.com. If you're looking for financing, they've got it, 0% up to 18 months if you qualify. And they can handle everything for you. You want to redo the vanity in the bathroom while you're doing all that. They can do it. They can handle showers, installations, removals. They can handle bathtubs, installations, removals. All that can be done with one call to One Bath and Closets. Check them out online at onebathandclosets.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com. Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Pinhook Bourbon. We'll have craft cocktails, whiskey samples, previewing the Tigers and the Aggies. Join us for AFR 3 to 6, presented by Pinhook Bourbon.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Shout out to the folks at Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com. Built by Renaissance.com, pools and outdoor kitchens. Looking to get that outdoor entertaining space you've always wanted. My guy Joey Blanchard and the team at Renaissance Homes and Pools, happy to help you out with that. Big news out of Knoxville. Tony Vitello headed to the San Francisco Giants. I'll have my reaction to that coming up in about 10, 12 minutes. But right now, it's time for What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
All right, let's start this bad boy off with, what if LSU wins 2 of A&M, Bama, and Oklahoma, misses the playoffs, and ends the regular season 9-3?
That would show significant improvement from what you've done, because A&M, Bama, and Oklahoma look very good.
Oh, like the juggernaut.
I would suggest all 3 of those teams are playoff threats, playoff deep run threats. I mean,
Yes.
I can see a world where all 3 of those teams were playing for the national championship. If you beat 2 of them, including at least one on the road, that to me would be a really nice close to the season. Unfortunately, you didn't get it done in the middle portion. I don't believe that 9-3 gets you into the playoffs. In this what if, you're suggesting that they missed the playoffs. I'm curious how LSU fans feel about 9-3 as opposed to 8-4 as opposed to 7-5. If that's a big difference to you, or it's either make the playoff or don't make the playoff.
Playoffs.
It's just a deal where you're going to lose a lot of this roster anyway, whether you go 9-3, 8-4, 7-5, or even 10-2. Like, you're going to lose a lot of the roster. So that's an interesting what if. It would certainly show some improvement, but it's hard to see right now.
Yeah, definitely is. So on the flip side, what if LSU loses to Texas A&M, Bama, and Oklahoma, or any of the 3 of the last 5 games?
So that would mean you've got 5 losses. That's 7-5. That's obviously a really tough pill to swallow.
Yes.
And I talked about this yesterday on my show, and I think there are a lot of people in Baton Rouge that are LSU fans that if this team that they had put all the money into,
yes,
that had all the expectations, went 7-5, you just go fire the coach. And that's fine, like, if you want to fire a salesperson at work and then just go hire another one, but that doesn't generally come with a $140 million price tag like this does when you buy out the coach and buy out his staff and then pay the new coach and then pay the new staff and then pay the players for the next year's team. And there's just a lot of money out there. And my point yesterday was not they can't fire the coach. It was not they don't have any interest in firing the coach. My point yesterday was simply that I can't speak with authority how much money is available to buy the coach out, what the appetite is for that, and who's making that call. I don't know. And I feel like if you're driving around Baton Rouge, or you're at the local bar, you're at church, or you're at the family like if you're with your buddies and you're saying, well, they're going to fire the coach, like, you probably don't know that either. So it just seems like a lot of conjecture over things that we just don't have clarity on. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying one way or another. I'm just saying I don't know. It's probably the most tepid response you can have, and some people are going to shake their head. But that, to me, like, you go 7-5, yeah, that's an unacceptable result.
Unacceptable.
But again, it's not like you just snap your fingers. Well, let's just get a new coach in here.
Yeah.
There's tens of millions of dollars at stake, over $100 million at stake, and it's just a different world.
Yeah, no, especially once the coach leaves, it's going to be, like you said, a mass exodus of the roster. So you definitely don't want to do that. So next, what if Tiger Woods never existed? Who would professionally golf/PGA Tour be viewed in sports today? I'm assuming the GOAT of golf.
Yeah, I mean, if he never existed, PGA Tour golf would not have been elevated to the point that it is today.
Oh, okay.
Young people would not have gravitated to the sport in the early 2000s the way that they did.
Yeah.
And you would not have had this youth movement. If you look back into the 90s, the stars of PGA Tour golf were in their 30s and some in their early 40s. And what happened post-Tiger was these guys started, I mean, you look at a PGA Tour event, these guys are fit, they're in great shape, they're strong, they're athletic, and they hit the ball 340 yards. Like, that, Tiger invented that. Tiger was competing against Chris DeMarco and Marco Mira and some of these guys that didn't hit it very far and weren't in very good shape and wore baggy clothes and pleated pants and smoked cigarettes on the range. And that was professional golf. And Tiger made it an athletic thing. And what these guys do now is just ridiculous. They've made most of the golf courses obsolete because of the way that they've elevated in terms of people watch golf more now than they did. Now they watch Tiger more than they watch the stars of today. But it's he transformed the golf financially in terms of the way that professional golfers look and play, and brought a generation to the sport. There's no doubt.
All right, so what if LSU spent more money on O-line and a running back than offensive weapons we didn't need or use?
It was a mistake. Yeah. They made a mistake. You went and got too many receivers, and you didn't get enough on the offensive line. Like, it's just, I'm going to talk about this in 20 minutes. Like, you're going to go into this game on Saturday night. I don't know another way to say this.
No, say it.
You're going to go into the game on Saturday night without a person on your team that's capable of playing tackle at an SEC level. You don't have one. Tyree Adams is hurt, and no one else on the team qualifies. So it's something they did not address in the transfer portal, and it was a mistake. They have great depth in the secondary, great depth at wide receiver.
Yep.
They have solid depth on the defensive front. They don't have depth on the. They don't have. I shouldn't say they don't have depth. They have a lot of guys on the offensive line, and a lot of them were 4- and 5-star recruits.
Proven
They
guys.
don't have the high-end talent that's in production on the offensive line. And if they could take whatever they spent on Nick Anderson and Destin Hill, and then probably, and probably Jamari Butler, if you took whatever you spent on those three guys and you put it at tackle, like, your team's better. But that, it was a miss.
I forgot Destin Hill was even on the team until you just said that.
And I have no idea what they spent on any of those guys, but I'm assuming they weren't free.
Oh,
and
they weren't cheap.
You take the cash that you can, move around there and do something else.
Okay, so last one. What did they give Michael Van Buren a shot at quarterback?
The offense would look different. That I can promise you. He's not as capable a thrower as Garrett Nussmeier. He can run around. You can do some read option stuff with him. He can improvise on third downs. Like, the offense would look different. I am less on the side of, Nussmeier is a huge problem than most. That's a very, very easy way to go with things. There are a lot of people who, after LSU got home from Orlando, said you need to bench Jaden and go with Nussmeier. And when you're calling to bench the Heisman winner, you know that it's the easiest thing to do. It just is. It's the easiest thing that you can transform the things you do when you go to the backup quarterback. Again, I'm not saying that Van Buren doesn't give LSU a different look that might be more successful. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that vehemently suggesting that Michael Van Buren is definitely someone who's going to fix your problems offensively is probably a little convenient. It's the backup quarterback who doesn't play has never made a mistake. And if you wanted to bench Jaden after LSU looked not great on offense against Florida State, and that was not like one person that said it. It was a thought from a small portion of the LSU fan base. You're just always looking for the next thing, always looking for the next scapegoat. And there are a lot of issues on this team, and Garrett Nussmeier's play has not been awesome, but I don't think you fix LSU's offense by going to Van Buren. That's my opinion.
No, I agree with you totally, and it's more that we can't run the ball. So that's already the problem right there. A quarterback's best friend is a good running game. So if you're able to run the ball, it could look a lot different. Just because you put Van Buren in there doesn't mean it's going to fix all the problems. Like you said, they're just looking for a scapegoat.
Yep.
That's What If Wednesday.
Yeah, I was looking through to see if there were any in the Bayou Ford chat. Don't believe I see one. Anything to talk about in baseball? Breaking news. We are going to talk a little baseball in the final segment of this hour, which happens to be right about now. So we'll talk about Tony Vitello headed to Rocky Top. What does that mean for LSU? The transfer portal's open for those Tennessee players, but there's a caveat. I'll talk about it when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Look, it's a delivery society, right? Well, Genesis of Baton Rouge is happy to help you with that. If you don't love spending time on a car lot and you just rather have them come to you, you're in luck, because part of being a luxury brand is a luxury experience when it comes to the car buying. And you can look at the entire inventory online. If you see something like, I'd like to test drive that, well, contact them at Genesis of Baton Rouge. They'll come to you. They'll come to the office during lunch. They'll come to your home. They'll get behind the wheel with you. They'll go through all the bells and whistles. They'll tell you about the fact that every single model is an IHA top safety pick. so you're automatically behind the wheel of one of the safest cars in the road. And if you decide based on that test drive, yeah, this is what I want to get behind the wheel of, they will deliver their vehicle to you. They will let you do e-contracts. You never have to set foot on the lot. And then again, when you get your maintenance done for the first 3 years, you don't have to go. They'll come get it, bring it in, do the maintenance, bring it back to you. Just part of the luxury brand and the luxury experience at Genesis of Baton Rouge. They're on airline at PQ. They're online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. That's Genesis of Baton Rouge.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and...
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
JD Piquel with us coming up in hour number 2. That'll be at 2:15, 2:30 SEC football power rankings. Have another change at the top of our power rankings this week. A lot of shifting this week with our power rankings. We'll get to those in a little over 45 minutes from right now. Tony Vitello has made the decision. It has been broken. It is official. He is leaving Tennessee to become the manager of the San Francisco Giants. And Tony Vitello took over that Tennessee baseball program. It was a sleep. They had not been relevant really since the Chris Burke days. And every year, like Kentucky and Tennessee were kind of the doormats of the league. You had years here and there where Georgia wasn't great, years here and there where Auburn wasn't very good. But generally speaking, like Tennessee and Kentucky were really bad. In fact, in 2000 and in 2011, when LSU missed the tournament, it was held against LSU that 6 of their SEC wins, they were 13, 6 of their wins were against Tennessee and Kentucky. And that was what the committee chairman said, like they were beating the bottom of the league. And Tony Vitello came in there, and he started recruiting, and he got that collective together, and they started going after big names in the transfer portal, and he built a powerhouse. There's no two ways about it. That team that he built in 2022 is as good a college baseball team as I have ever seen. They had 3 first-round picks in the starting rotation. They had dudes mashing home runs every which way. And over the course of 2 days in Knoxville, Notre Dame got them. And I don't know how they did it, but they did. But that team was awesome. And then LSU was obviously too much for them with Skeens in 2023. And then they came back in 2024 and finally finished the job. And if he'd have stayed there for another 10 years, they'd have probably finished the job a couple more times, because the way that he was recruiting and the way he has developed hitters in that program and really arms in that program, along with 2 really good assistants, has been remarkable. And they've spent a lot of money on that stadium. They've spent a lot of money on that roster, and now Tony Vitello is moving on. And it's a big deal in the sport. I mean, it's landscape altering. There are only a couple of guys that can make waves like that. Jay Johnson, Tony Vitello, Jim Schlossnagle maybe, although he's never won a championship, but he's been so relevant so often over the years. I mean, I would even hesitate right now to put Tim Corbin and Kevin O'Sullivan in that category, because their teams haven't performed as well the last few years. I know that Corbin's team was the number 1 in national seed this year. I never saw them as a team that deserved that based on the talent that they had on that roster. Dave Van Horn would be in that category if he moved on, but there aren't a lot. And Tony Vitello is absolutely one. And he and Jay Johnson sit atop this sport right now. And now Jay Johnson occupies that spot by himself. And the question is, what's next for Tennessee? And that's relevant here in Baton Rouge as well. It would flatline stun me if Josh Elander, the hitting coach there, was not given that job. It would also flatline stun me if Josh Elander had a run over the next 4 years like Tony Vitello has had over the last 4 years. It's the same reason that Texas A&M made a massive mistake going to Michael Early from Jim Schlossnagle, that Florida State made a massive mistake going from Mike Martin to Mike Martin Jr. Those 2 complete failures. I think it obviously didn't work out for LSU handing the keys to assistant and Smoke Laval. Like, the guy that sits next to the guy is very rarely the guy. And Tennessee fans would jump up and down and say, look, all the players love him. Look, he can just keep this thing rolling. We heard the exact same stuff at a College Station a year ago. The exact same. And they were a disaster because Michael Early had no idea what he was doing. And it certainly stands to reason that Josh Elander could get it done in Knoxville. He could. I would bet against them being as good as they've been under Tony Vitello. Yep, he's been handling the bats. Yep, you still got Frank Anderson as a pitching coach who's done a great job there. And they'll try to keep everything under wraps. But to try to diminish Tony Vitello's value to that program is probably foolish. So we'll see. I think it's a watershed day in the Southeastern Conference. Now, to tease into this segment, I talked about the transfer portal opening for Tennessee players. It does. Transfer portal's open for 30 days for Tennessee players now. But for them to transfer and be eligible in the SEC in the spring, they have to be graduates. And those aren't the guys you're looking for. The guys you're looking for are the freshmen and sophomores who have not been draft eligible just yet, that are mega talents. And Josh Elander is a guy that team really likes. In the way that Michael Early is that, and he kept Jace Laviolette, and he kept Gavin Grahovic, and he kept that group together, got Ryan Prager to come back, and that whole deal. That Elander will keep that roster together before opening day. The question is, can he coach them? I don't know. And I'm assuming he'll be the guy. Maybe they give it to Frank Anderson. Maybe Tennessee goes out and tries to hire a baseball coach right now. I have no idea. But it sounds like Josh Elander will be the guy. I don't think Tennessee will be as good as they have been without Tony Vitello piloting that ship. And hate him or love him. And most people listening to me right now hate him. And I've got reasons why he's not my favorite guy. I don't love throwing the bat across the field at the other dugout. I don't love bumping umpires. I don't love getting suspended for tampering. I don't love this shouting match with Dave Van Horn. Like, I think there are some things that are not really likable about Tony Vitello. But to try to discredit the job he did in Knoxville would be quite a chore, because that dude won a ton of baseball games. So we'll see what's next for him in San Francisco, and we'll see what's next for Tennessee baseball. But right now, LSU's baseball coach is inarguably at the top of the sport. I would have argued that he was 2 hours ago. But now, you can't even argue against it. Probably the way it should be. I like it. That's our thoughts on Tony Vitello headed to San Francisco. That's it for hour number 1. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Looking for your LSU content, Hunt on LSU. Looking for Saints content? There was some of that in the first hour too. Hunt on Saints. We'll pause for National Headline in Sports Center. Let's talk LSU offensive line. We'll talk to J.D. Piquel in 20 minutes. It's a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Renaissance Homes and Pools. Renaissance Homes and Pools, looking for your dream pool. Renaissance Homes and Pools can do it for you. Looking for your dream outdoor entertaining space, like an outdoor kitchen. Renaissance Homes and Pools can do it, and they can customize it to your exact specifications. Everybody's looking for something a little bit different in a pool. If you know exactly what you want, go to my guy, Josh Blanchard. Josh Blanchard. Childhood friend Josh Blanchard. Joey Blanchard can help you out with that. He can start to finish, help you out with the design, the digging, the finishing, and the installation of that dream pool. Could be big for multiple kids and a big family. Could be cocktail pool, just you and your significant other. Whatever the case may be, Joey Blanchard can help you out with that. So go to builtbyrenaissance.com. Start your process. If you start it now, be in it for the spring. It's builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels sidelined for a third time this NFL season. Won't play Monday night at Kansas City due to a hamstring strain, reports ESPN's John Keim and Jeremy Fowler. Marcus Mariota starts in place of Daniels again. Ravens QB Lamar Jackson out the last 2 games with a hamstring injury, back at practice today. 1-5 Baltimore is hoping Jackson's return can help save its season after 4 straight losses. ESPN NFL analyst Dominique Foxworth.
Is it likely? No, because the chances of them having some sort of slip up the rest of the way are pretty high. They're going to have to, they can't make any mistakes from here on out. They have to win all the games that they're supposed to win. That's asking a lot of any football team, especially this one that the quarterback may not even be playing this week.
Dominique Foxworth on Unsportsmanlike. Whether Jackson plays Sunday versus the Bears depends on how much progress he makes this week. Tennessee baseball coach Tony Vitello finalizing a deal to become the Giants' next manager. First time a big league team is hiring a manager directly from a college program without any experience as a professional coach.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, Carson Wentz is getting another start with the Vikings, but is it time to start wondering about a quarterback controversy in Minnesota? It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane's studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2. Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Officially half the work week in the rearview mirror. Working towards the weekend. Fired up here with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. JD Piquel in 15 minutes. My latest SEC football power rankings coming your way in half an hour. I guess it's time to start looking forward to LSU and Texas A&M, right? Have not done a lot of that this week. Really haven't done any of it this week. Too much to unpack on Monday from the Vanderbilt game and news on the injury front yesterday and then again today. And so then we got Ashton Stamps leaving the team today, and we just haven't gotten to previewing LSU and A&M. So we kind of start that in earnest today and right here. There is one thing that concerns me the most about this game from an LSU perspective, and it's Texas A&M pass rush. And that's not because I think Texas A&M's pass rush is their strength, although it is very good. I think that all of a sudden now LSU's pass blocking becomes kind of vital here to hanging in this game. I say that because of this. Do you think LSU's going to show up and really run the ball right at Texas A&M? Like, I don't think so. That would surprise me. They ran it better against South Carolina. They ran it better against Vanderbilt at times. Harlan Berry showed some things. You've seen some improvement in the running game, but it's not a dominant rushing attack. LSU's best opportunity to move the ball and to improve offensively, which I've said for weeks now, is throwing the football. It's Garrett Nussmeier throwing the ball to Xavion Thomas making plays, and Aaron Anderson getting healthier and making plays, and Trey'Dez Green being a mismatch. Those guys on the perimeter are LSU's best opportunity at improving on offense. And I look at Texas A&M, and they've got statistically a pretty average passing defense. They're 9th in the SEC, 200 yards a game. They've given up 11 touchdowns through the air. As far as completion percentage goes, A&M's middle of the road at 7th. They're allowing 60% completion. It's not great. It's not terrible. But I think it's LSU's best chance to move the ball throwing it. But as I said in the first hour, and I hold true to this, with Tyree Adams out, and he's not going to play, I don't believe LSU has an SEC tackle available. That's harsh. I don't love calling players out, but I can't watch this tape. I can't look at this Pro Football Focus grade. I can't see these highlights and not immediately look to LSU at left tackle and right tackle and go, this is a problem. And Texas A&M comes into this game 6th in the country in sacks. Cassius Howell has been awesome. He's got 7.5 sacks thus far coming off the edge. He's a terror off the edge. He leads the conference. He's ahead of Colin Simmons at Texas. He's ahead of R. Mason Thomas at Oklahoma. Like, he's been great, averaging a sack a game. And you got to deal with him. Deion Hayes on the other side, 3.5 sacks. That's more than anybody at LSU has. So those two guys have combined for 11 sacks for Texas A&M. A&M as a group, 5 sacks against Auburn, 4 sacks against Mississippi State, 3 sacks against Florida, 4 more sacks against Arkansas. They get back there. They get after it. And Jackson Arnold's a good athlete. And obviously, Taylon Green's a good athlete. DJ Lagway moves okay. Blake Shapen moves okay. Nussmeier probably the least athletic of the lot. I think Mike Elko is going to come after Garrett Nussmeier. I think he wants that ball coming out quickly. Did you watch the game in College Station last year? LSU was comfortable in the first half. Nussmeier was comfortable in the first half. He really picked Texas A&M apart. The touchdown pass he threw to Mason Taylor was gorgeous. You hit Aaron Anderson on a slant, big play. They hit on some third downs. Like, LSU looked really good throwing the ball. And then Mike Elko with that home crowd and Nick Scorton and a good defensive front, they went, all right, we're coming at you. And they started blitzing. And LSU cracked a little bit. And Nussmeier cracked. He took sacks. He made poor decisions. He made turnovers. And you got to think Mike Elko is going to look at that and go, that's the recipe. Now, Joe Sloan was there for that too and can build in some screens and can get the ball out quickly, and that's all LSU really does anyway. But ultimately, you're going to have to make some plays down the field. You're going to have to throw the ball. And Texas A&M's pass rush is really good, and I just don't have confidence that LSU can pick that up. I don't know that they can. I don't know that they can pick up blitzes, and I'm confident they can't win one-on-ones. And while this is just me talking, Garrett Nussmeier's lived this. And this is my opinion. This is not rooted in fact. Garrett's certainly not going to say this. Brian Kelly's certainly not going to say this. This is my opinion from watching games. My opinion is that Garrett Nussmeier is not confident in his offensive line, specifically the edges. And he's not standing up there and planting his back foot and ripping the ball down the field. When he stood back in that pocket with that offensive line last year, as much as they struggled to run block, they were elite at picking up blitzes and keeping him clean. And he trusted that. And for a lot of the season, he sat back there and ripped it, and he racked up 4,000 yards. And I don't think he has that trust with this group. And I certainly don't think losing his left tackle, Tyree Adams, helps with that. Certainly not when he gets into the film room to go over the tape in Nashville and sees his new left tackle getting flat-backed in a one-on-one and a huge sack in a critical spot. Like, that's just not going to inspire a lot of confidence from the LSU quarterback. So if he is gun-shy back there, that's even worse. And there are some things you can do to try to slow down the pass rush. You can run the ball by firing off the line. You can handle screens. You can help chip with the tight end or the running back. But, like, you limit yourself when you just throw short, when you just bring your running back in to protect and not out in the route, when you bring in a tight end to help protect and he's not out on the route as quickly. You're limiting what you can do offensively. Sometimes you got to help, and there are some guys in football, whether it's the college ranks or the NFL ranks, even down to the high school ranks, that you've got to deal with. But it feels like LSU's got that on both sides now. And it just paints a grim picture about LSU trying to lean on its strength and not being able to. And I think that's a scary proposition for this LSU offense to consider, like, hey, we'd like to throw it around a little bit. Hey, we can't block these guys. And you had a plan against Clemson and executed it, but ultimately, how many points did you score in that game? Not a lot. And you've shown that you can complete a lot of passes to the perimeter. You can throw that wide receiver screen time and time again, and you'll complete it, and usually you'll get 2 or 3 yards. But there's got to be more. And for more to happen, you got to pass block better. And I don't see anything that's lending itself to me believing, hey, LSU's going to make some adjustments and they're going to get better protecting the passer come Saturday against Texas A&M's 6th-ranked pass rush in the country. That's just the way that I see it at this point. So I think there are some spots in this game that I like LSU's personnel, but in LSU's greatest perceived strength on the offensive side, I see issues. Now, if they can block them, I think LSU can win down the field. That just remains to be seen, and we haven't thus far. So that's kind of your first look at LSU and Texas A&M. Kickoff a little after 6:45 on Saturday. Monitoring the weather apprehensively. Looks like some of that rain may be pushing to Sunday, which would be great. I have heard from multiple people that are not coming to this game. And I've got a fear. I thought this for a little bit, but I'm not going to fight anymore. I'm just going to lay it out there. This is fear. It's not reality yet. It is fear. It is not reality. I have a fear about Saturday. My fear is that LSU fans are cranky. My fear is that LSU fans who are cranky look at the forecast and go, I'm not going to this game. My fear is that Texas A&M, who has never won anything ever, is really excited. And they have a lot of money. And they get to the secondary market and they flood this place. And my fear is that a cranky fan base that doesn't show up, that sells tickets to Texas A&M, creates a lot of maroon in that stadium on Saturday. And my fear is that A&M gets a second-half lead. And then that lead grows. And the fans that did decide to show up in purple and gold leave. And then these folks who have never been excited about anything since I've been alive take over that stadium. That's my fear. I don't want it to become a reality. It doesn't have to become a reality. But I've talked to LSU fans who are not going. I know that Texas A&M fans are motivated. And the possibility exists that happens. And you can say you're such a complainer, Hunt. You're such a whiner. You're such a pessimist. And you can say all these things. And I didn't say that's what's going to happen on Saturday. I just fear it. And it'll be that if that does come to pass, you can take UAB. I was there. You can take Troy. I was there. You can take the Yeldon screen. I was 15 yards from him. It'll be among the saddest times of my time in Tiger Stadium if that happens on Saturday night. If there's anybody out there in purple and gold that is thinking about selling those tickets and just going to toss them up on SeatGeek and a Houston area code shows up and you just fire away, let's try to prevent that. Ultimately, it's up to the players. They got to do it. But that fear is uncomfortable. Okay? So we'll see. Let's talk to J.D. Piquel about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Latest edition of the SEC Football Power Rankings coming your way in 15 minutes, but it is that time of the week we talk to our guy, JD Piquel, host of The Hard Count on 3 Sports. You can find him on YouTube, wherever you find your podcast. Just search The Hard Count, or you can check him out right here every single Wednesday. JD, how we doing?
Doing great, brother. Like I said last week, when I hear your voice coming through my AirPods, I know football is around the corner. Great talking to you.
We're about ready to cancel football around these parts. About ready to move on to something else. This is what it feels like. Here's what we got going on down here. We got a football team that just lost to Vanderbilt that's on the brink. We got a Saints team that's 1-6. We got Joe Burrow out, Jaden Daniels out, Malik Neighbors out in the NFL. It's a tough scene down here, JD. There's not a lot of brimming positivity.
So tell me this: a win over A&M Saturday night in Baton Rouge, is that turning the tide here? Is that getting the vibes back to a stable place, or is it kind of a foregone conclusion?
For some, that would do it. The other faction would say, well, they're going to lose to Alabama anyway, so who cares? But me, I would take the win. I want the win over A&M very, very badly. But let's start with the Vanderbilt game last we'd I mean, what'd you see?
I was just taken back, Hunt, as to how bad the O-line was in pass pro. Like, I think we all knew the O-line wasn't going to be phenomenal for LSU this year. My ask of them was, let's be serviceable. And the Clemson game gave me a lot of hope with how good that Clemson D-line is, or how talented that D-line is, rather. And so to see Vanderbilt just make Nuss's life miserable, that was the most jarring part to me. Because I think a lot of people over the course of the last few weeks have rightly questioned how healthy is Nuss. He doesn't look right. And I'm like, it doesn't matter if he's got a throwing arm amputated, if he's got that much pressure from Vanderbilt coming his way. So that was jarring. I think Pavi's a stud, but, I mean, golly, it made me very concerned for LSU here the rest of the way, which is putting it in the most black and white terms possible that I know it's been probably discussed ad nauseum out there in Baton Rouge.
It has. To change like the tenor of the conversation a little bit, like, what'd you learn about Vanderbilt?
I think for Vanderbilt, like, we all knew they were good to a certain respect, but just how I said it just then, there was almost an inflection in people's voices speaking of, hey, Vanderbilt this year, huh? Or, hey, wow, Vanderbilt's kind of like, I think Vanderbilt is actually just a good football team. We can remove the qualifier of good for Vanderbilt, good for what Vanderbilt's been, good for a Vanderbilt. Like, Vanderbilt's just a team that could legitimately be a playoff team, which is wild to say given what they have been, but I think we're at that point. For Pavia, I want to make sure we highlight this. I think he's so crafty. Like, I know he gets highlighted for being a dog and for being, competitive to the nth degree and all those things, but he, at the quarterback position, you can tell he's been the undersized guy his whole life. And he operates in space so well. He feels pressure so well and kind of made a couple of crucial scrambles on plays that, quite frankly, I think LSU had dialed up correctly on the defensive side. He just was so instinctual. He was able to feel those out and make a play with his legs. So I appreciate the grittiness and the emotion and all that's a big part of it, but I think his craftiness reminds me a little bit of Jeremiah Masoli. Remember him at Oregon at Ole Miss for a point in time? Like, he's kind of that lane to me, which is a lot of fun to watch.
He was Hugh Freeze's first quarterback there in Oxford. Speaking of Oxford, Ole Miss loses to Georgia 35-43, but from the Georgia angle, like, Nick at the end was winning a lot of shootouts. Kirby played defense for a while there, and now they're winning some shootouts. They did it in Knoxville and did it again against Ole Miss in Athens. How do you feel about the Dogs?
I don't know what to make of the Dogs, honestly. Like, I keep saying I am expecting this defense to get better. I've said that since the Tennessee game, and it has not gotten better. And I guess the good news for Georgia fans is you've got an offense that for the first time in a minute here is able to answer that call to action. So, like, Gunnar Stockton's been awesome. The offense has been awesome, especially when they've had to be, but it feels like they're flying a little bit close to the sun when it comes to what they've done on the defensive side. Like, they legitimately probably played poorly enough on the defensive side to be a 3-loss football team, but the traits of this Georgia team and the Gunnar Stockton answering the call to action parts of this football team have been enough to have them be in a spot where they've only lost one. So at that level, I guess I'm impressed that it's been a personality of Georgia to where they can get down and only play 2-3 quarters a game and still win.
We're sticking in the SEC. We'll get to some other things moving forward. But you look at Ole Miss and Oklahoma this weekend. Early game, 11 o'clock kickoff in Norman. Oklahoma's a 4.5-point favorite. Tough. Ole Miss back-to-back road contests against top 15 teams. You think Lane Kiffin's team answers the bell? And we'll get to the other part of this discussion after that.
I don't. I think it's a good game. I don't think they just show up and lay an egg, but I think that Oklahoma defense is just another level, man. And I'm not going to do the whole thing where we talk about Trinidad Chambliss. He played D2 last year. He's never seen a defense like this. Even if you played college football for 18 years like Diego Pavia, you haven't seen a defense like this. And so I think that's going to be something that's a little bit surprising for him to deal with. And I also think that the emergence of a run game for Oklahoma last week, while South Carolina may not be the world beater when it comes to stopping the run, I think them developing something on the ground there will serve them well and open it up for John Mateer. So I like Oklahoma to win, and I think not to parlay too much into this next part of the discussion that I feel like is maybe coming. I do wonder how weird of a week it's been if you're a football player for Ole Miss, and you see everyone on Twitter is posting stuff about Kiffin in Florida, and there's a bunch of coaching gear swaps of him in the blue and orange. Like, I wonder how much that impacts the focus for a team like that. Because clearly for Nebraska, with all the Nebraska, Matt Rule, Penn State discussion that was happening last week, did not serve the Huskers well. So I like Oklahoma in that one.
What do you think about the whole Lane, Florida situation? I'll leave it as open-ended as that.
I got a lot of thoughts here, Hunt, so I'll try and be efficient.
Lay them on me. I got time.
In coaching searches, man, doesn't it always feel like it's never the first name? It's never the first suspect. It's kind of like the same rule for murder mysteries when you're watching those movies. It's never the wife that did it for the insurance. It's always the butler. It's always the spurned, daughter or son. And, like, Kiffin to me is just so on the nose. I'm wondering if Ole Miss hasn't seen this coming from a mile away and is about to back up the freaking Brinks truck. I also wonder a little bit, like, can you get Lane Kiffin away from a spot where he has everything at his fingertips? Like, he is the man at Ole Miss. He makes all the decisions. There's alignment when it comes to NIL and portal and all that stuff. And, like, I don't know that if I'm Lane Kiffin, the way that I have this thing running right now at Oxford, I'm jumping ship to a place that seems to just, quite frankly, I don't know all the inner workings in Gainesville, but they have more hands in the pot than they do at Ole Miss, and so I wonder how much that plays in here. I also think when we talk about the way that it would look if he got to Florida, like, I think Lane Kiffin's not for everybody, and that's a beautiful thing. Saban's not for everybody. Kirby's not for everybody. I don't know if Kiffin's the same caliber of those guys, but I think the idea of committing to Lane Kiffin as your head coach is fun on paper, but so is going to a concert on a Friday night with your friends. But if you're not all the way in on that Friday night experience with your friends going to a concert of a band you haven't seen, like, you get there in the first few minutes, you're like, why are we doing this? This isn't actually that fun. Same thing with Kiffin. If they have a slow start, if he's the head coach there and they're 2 and 3 through 5 weeks, it's like, he's still tweeting. He's still kind of doing his own thing. He's got a persona that's easy to dislike for some folks. I don't know if I see that being the happiest marriage in the world if he were to end up in Gainesville.
3 years ago, we went through this rigmarole with Kiffin, and he was going to go to Auburn, and he didn't quiet any of it down, and his team lost like 5 of their last 6 and kind of crumbled beneath the weight of all this. Does he want to run that risk with this team and not say? I mean, the silence a little bit is deafening. And I'm someone who doesn't care what people say in press conferences, but, like, if this is not something you're interested in, don't you want to come out and say something about it instead of saying, well, I don't really talk about that, and we're focused inside, and, like, just kind of tap dancing like he did 3 years ago?
I don't. So I didn't even see if he was asked about it in a press conference. Was he asked about it? I didn't see anything in his first one to start the week. Has he said any? Has there been someone point blank asking him about the Florida job?
Yeah, it came up on Monday, and he just kind of said, well, it's not a distraction to our guys, and we're, focused on whatever. Just kind of it's the same thing he always says, like, I'm just not really going to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the documentary on him was so interesting because it made it seem like he was really at peace with where he was in his career.
Yeah.
He had an SEC job, and Ole Miss was rolling. And that's just so counter to him jumping ship to a place like Florida that has gone through 5 head coaches in 12 years. Like, it doesn't totally align. Like, I don't know if you really want to be happier than happy. And a time in college football, quite frankly, Hunt, and you and I have discussed this, logo has never mattered less in college football. Like, I understand Florida probably has more resources than a Florida or than an Ole Miss does, but I don't know that that's something that Ole Miss can't, kind of boss up a little bit for it and maybe not match Florida, but be closer in that neighborhood here if you're going to keep him. So I think there's a lot of leverage here for him to get more out of Ole Miss. And from a contract perspective, sure, but a resource perspective, even more so. I don't know. It smells a touch funny. Now, if you can get him, if you're Florida, like, you do that in a heartbeat. You take him and you roll with it. But I don't know if him leaving makes so much sense. That's the hard part for me.
Biggest Missouri at Vanderbilt game ever? Is that what we're looking at here?
I think so, man. Drink's the guy that I think would make a lot of sense for the Florida job, much to the chagrin of the folks out there in Gainesville. I found out that way on Twitter. They were not at all excited about the idea of him being their next head coach, but neither here nor there. That's going to be awesome, man. How about those? I mean, it's what we said. Logos not mattering. That's a game that's got game day coming to it here in Nashville, and it's not the charity game day that you get whenever it's a quiet week in college football. It's like, no, these are 2 teams with 1 loss and 2 – it's like they're kind of the same team, no? Like 2 scrappy quarterbacks, similar colorway on the jerseys, 2 teams that felt they disrespected in the SEC. It'll be fun, man. I like Missouri in that one, but I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I think that the winner of that game should feel pretty optimistic about their playoff potential.
All right, last one, home here, Tiger Stadium, Saturday night, LSU and Texas A&M. I watched your video earlier today on your pick, so I kind of know where you're leaning, but you can tell the good people here what you think.
Well, one, I appreciate you watching that. Yeah. That helps keep the light on for me here over at home base. Listen, it's one of those things where I am searching, as someone who picked LSU to win the whole thing in the preseason, I am searching for a reason to believe again in LSU. And I'm at this point where I don't know what I'm grabbing onto in picking LSU. Like, seeing the Vanderbilt front 7, like I said before, was jarring the way they got after Nussmeier. I don't know where the offense comes from. If LSU wins, it's one of those classic Death Valley at nights. We love college football. No idea why LSU won. It doesn't make sense that they won, but they did. They created some turnovers. They got after Marcel Reed. Maybe we see the inspired effort here, Hunt, but it's tough for me right now to predict the game based on inspired effort against that A&M personnel and the way they're rolling. So I will happily be wrong on this one. I will write songs about me being wrong on this one in an affectionate manner, rather. But I think that A&M wins this one in Death Valley.
We shall see. Aggies 2.5-point favorites, 6:30 kickoff, ABC. We'll talk about it next week. Thanks, JD.
Appreciate you. Have a great one.
You too. JD Piquel, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports. Find him wherever you find your podcasts, and on 3's YouTube channel as well. We will step aside when we come back. New power rankings. We'll see where the Tigers land next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at Genesis of Baton Rouge, and every new purchase at Genesis of Baton Rouge comes with America's best warranty. You get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, 5-year, 60,000-mile warranty, bumper to bumper. The peace of mind that gives you when you drive off the lot is just second to none. It's industry leading. When you talk about enhanced 24/7 roadside assistance, they got it. 5 years and unlimited miles. And then obviously the valet complimentary maintenance is awesome. 3 years, 36,000 miles. You don't want to do that maintenance yourself. You don't want to drive in to do it. You just let them come to you and they'll bring it right back to you when that maintenance is done. It's all part of the experience at Genesis. It's a luxury brand at a reasonable price. Check out the entire inventory online. Go by and see him airline at PQ. GenesisofBatonRouge.com. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR from Don Juan Cigar Bar.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools every single Wednesday. Right now is a really good time to have the conversation about the design of your pool. It's a time where a lot of folks aren't thinking about that, so there may be more available schedule from the folks over at Renaissance. And it's a great time to start the process so you don't have to rush to make sure that you get into that pool for next spring and summer. So contact my guy, Joey Blanchard, and just start that conversation. Start that customization. You can call them at 225-252-7745. Again, that's 225-252-7745. They're happy to answer the phone, happy to sit down with you, happy to start the process of getting into that pool. And as he said, it all depends on the weather. All depends on, when you get into the winter months and things are a little cold, doesn't dry out as much, things can take a little bit longer. But if you're looking to get in that pool for the spring and the summer, you can start that conversation now and make sure that by the time it gets nice and hot around here again, that you are all wrapped up. The website's builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. Renaissance Homes and Pools, they bring you our Wednesday shows. All right, SEC Football Power Rankings.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
I moved Alabama back up. A&M was the top spot last week. They did not play. Alabama gets the win over Tennessee, a game they kind of dominated. Simpson's the Heisman frontrunner right now, and I thought they really did a good job of slowing down Joey Aguilar with Tennessee. So right now, I got the Tide back up at the top.
Texas A&M!
Move the Aggies down one spot. 17th in the country in total offense, 37th in the country in total defense, so a good balance there. Marcel Reed, second in the SEC in terms of yards per play on total offense. A&M can beat you a lot of different ways. We're going to talk about them a lot over the next 2 days, but the Aggies, right now, I've got them as the second best team in the league.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Leave Georgia right there after that win by one score over Ole Miss. Gunnar Stockton was great against Ole Miss. The defense is only 7th in the SEC in scoring defense. That just feels weird to me, but they've got playmakers. They've got a quarterback who can make plays, and they've won 2 shootouts against good football teams in Tennessee and Ole Miss. So I leave Georgia right there at number 3.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
I didn't move Ole Miss back any. Now, they play Oklahoma this week, so that could be a mover here. But they were up 9 in the third quarter at Georgia. They beat LSU. I think it's a good team. Their defense is 12th in the SEC in scoring. That's a bit of a concern. We know the run defense can be a concern as well. Their defense has issues, no doubt. And they gave up 40 to Georgia and lost the game. But their offense is very good. Their team is good. I still got them at 4.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
These two teams play each other. Oklahoma at number 5 here. Second in the nation in scoring defense, 9.4 points per game. They are tied for the nation's sack lead. It's just a ferocious defense under Brent Venables. You knew that day would come. Still getting Mateer back, easing Mateer back in. I'm not going to give them a ton of credit for the South Carolina win, but we'll see what they do against Ole Miss in Norman. That could move them up at their 5th right now.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Move Vandy up to 6 here after the win over LSU. Look, they looked pretty good against Alabama and LSU offensively. They moved the football in both of those games. They're the best in the country on third downs. Their defense is scrappy. It's a good football team. I move them up 3 spots here to number 6. I don't think they're the best team. I don't think they're going to win the SEC. But I think they can make the playoff. I think they could.
The Missouri Tigers.
They play Missouri this week. 4 and 5 play. 6 and 7 play. Missouri backs up 1 spot to move Vanderbilt up. Their best win of the year is Auburn, so that's not super awesome, and it was in overtime. Their next 2 weeks are at Vanderbilt and then Texas A&M. We'll know more about Missouri then, but right now Eli Drinkwitz's team's in a good position. I'll leave him right there at number 7.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee at 8. They moved back 1 spot this week. They can't beat Goliath. They can't beat Georgia at home. They can't go to Tuscaloosa and win. They're good. They handle their business. They won 10 games last year. They might win 10 games this year. I don't think they will, but they might. They've lost 2 games. Can they win out? They could, but they're not great. And we'll see what they do down the stretch. I've got them right there at the midway point at 8.
The LSU Tigers.
This could be ambitious, but there are significant flaws the rest of the way here. Significant flaws the rest of the way. So you kind of pick your spots. I've got LSU at 9. I still think the defense, when healthy, is decent. I think the quarterback's decent. Decent's about as good as I can go here. I've got LSU at 9, back 1 spot after the loss to Vanderbilt. It's only a 1-score loss to a pretty good team that's in the top 10 now, but I got them at 9.
The Texas Longhorns.
I mean, maybe Texas is better than LSU, but maybe Texas goes to Kentucky and can't score any points. Their offense is atrocious. They're averaging 285 yards a game and 16 points a game against the Power 5. That's just anemic. Their passing offense stinks. The defense is good, but there's huge flaws. LSU's got huge flaws. Texas has huge flaws. Let's go to number 11.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
I moved Arkansas up 3 spots here. They got huge flaws too, but at least they can score. They're 17th in the country in scoring offense. They're 4th in the country in total offense. They just can't stop a nosebleed. They can't stop anything. Petrino, Taylon Green, that's really fun. They're awful on defense. This is Jaden Daniels and LSU from 2 years ago on the light version. So Arkansas does move up after losing, but everybody back here has got flaws.
The Florida Gators.
Fortunate to beat Mississippi State at home. DJ Lagway looks really average. They fire Billy Napier. Their defensive front is good, and I think Jaden Ball at running back is good, but there are a lot of things that aren't very good, and that's why they've fired the coach. So Florida's there at 12.
The Auburn Tigers.
I back Auburn up 1 spot to 13. Their scoring offense is 13th in the SEC. Their total offense is 15th in the SEC. Their passing offense is 16th in the SEC. And that's all with 2 studs at wide receiver. Jackson Arnold is not the answer. He was not at Oklahoma. He's not at Auburn. They're not very good. They play close games, but they never win them. So I can't move Auburn up. I've got them at 13.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Got Mississippi State at 14th. Jess Levy's now 0-11 in the SEC. State has lost 15 SEC games in a row. They back up 1 spot to number 14. They're okay on offense. They're bad on defense, but not as bad as they were last year. That gets you to the 14 spot.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
South Carolina has no offensive line whatsoever. 2nd most sacks allowed in the nation to this point. Incidentally, Auburn leads the nation in sacks allowed. But they're not good on defense either. We saw this team. They're bad, and they sit right there at number 15. No move for South Carolina.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky close, but no cigar. Played close against Texas, but you lost. It's hoop season in Lexington. I think Mark Pope's a pretty good basketball coach, so that's what they got going for them. But football, they don't have anything going for them. They're very, very bad. So that's a look at 1 through 16. I got Alabama 1, Texas A&M 2, Georgia Bulldogs at 3, Ole Miss at 4. They play Oklahoma this week. The Sooners are 5. Vanderbilt 6. They play Missouri this week, who is 7. Tennessee at 8. LSU at 9. Texas at 10. Arkansas at 11. Florida Gators at 12. Auburn at 13. And Mississippi State at 14. South Carolina at 15. And the bottom is the Kentucky Wildcats at 16. All right, Jordan, here's my only hope.
Yes.
You look at my power rankings, which obviously are excellently done, perfectly researched.
I actually think they're really good. I think they're actually really good.
I think LSU may be generously seated there, but we'll see. But here's who A&M has played this year. They've played Mississippi State, who's 14th.
Yuck.
They've played Auburn, who's 13th.
Yuck.
They've played Florida, who's 12th. They've played Arkansas, who is 11th.
Yuck.
So that's A&M's 4-0 in SEC play.
Yes.
14, 13, 12, 11.
Yeah. It's not impressive.
But what do they have left? They've got LSU at 9 and Texas at 10. Those are the next 2.
Okay.
And then they've got Missouri, who I've got up there at 7. And then the other one for Texas A&M is... Who else does A&M play? Texas, LSU, Missouri.
Hold on. We got the internet.
It's not Tennessee. I don't think it's Oklahoma.
I had the schedule up. South Carolina.
15th.
Yeah.
So based on my power rankings for this week, Texas A&M's SEC schedule does not include 1 Alabama, does not include 3 Georgia, does not include 4 Ole Miss, does not include 5 Oklahoma, does not include 6 Vanderbilt.
That's funny. We got to say that.
That's crazy to me. Let's just take the hyperbole and the tongue-in-cheek nature of this conversation out.
Yes.
Even if I'm not right, I'm not wildly off here. A&M is going to avoid the entire top half of the league. That's incredible fortune.
Well, also, I will say, LSU is supposed to be a lot better.
So is Texas.
Texas, those are supposed to be
We thought South Carolina might be good. Hugh Freeze in year 3.
Yeah. But, I will take their schedule over Texas.
God.
I feel like Texas plays nobody.
You can't do any better than this based on my metric. Their SEC schedule is going to is 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, and 7. That is wild.
We're going to learn a lot about them. We're going to learn a lot.
Holy cow.
Especially down the stretch. And also, the game you mentioned that I feel like we're going to learn a lot about both teams, the Missouri-Vanderbilt game.
Yeah.
We're going to learn a lot about both those teams. That's what I'm very excited for. But no, man, and look, we're going to learn about A&M. A&M, they're the bad news bears. Like, I'm just waiting for that. They're waiting.
Everybody's waiting. Taylor Sharp's waiting. Everybody's waiting. I'm sick of waiting.
Yes.
They need to lose and lose now. Unfortunately, LSU has no players healthy, so that doesn't help, and they're not playing worth the crap.
Yeah, you can't run the ball. You can't pass block. You kind of just you're just banking on Death Valley at night at this point. That's really all you got going for you. And then you just said it might be a rainstorm, and you have people telling you they're not going to show up.
It's probably hunting season. I don't know when hunting season is. I'm not going to learn when hunting season is. I don't care when hunting season is. I'm not going hunting. But there are people that love to go hunting, and they know when hunting season is, and it may have already started, and they may go hunting. So I don't know. Who knows? But I'm so...
There's no positive outlook, yes.
I'm so frustrated that Texas A&M is 7-0. That drives me insane. So let's take a time out so I can stew on that, and then we'll come back and close out the show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
If you don't want to think about football and you'd rather think about golf, then you can go to Swing Easy Golf Club, and that sounds great. Golf sounds fun. You go in, you get in one of those bays. They've got 3 of them there. It's climate controlled. Technology's great. You can work on your game. You can socialize with friends. Crack open a cold beer or 3. Give a glass of wine, a seltzer. Put that simulator on Pebble Beach. Put that simulator on Bethpage Black. Put it on TPC New Orleans if you've played there. They play a pretty big golf tournament every April over in Georgia. You can put that course on too. And have some fun. Because you don't have to worry about football when you do that. It's Swing Easy Golf Club. They're on Seagan, right there at Perkins. You can get a tee time. You can get a membership. And if you got a membership, you get 7+ hours for free every single month. You can do one corporately that you can have for your clients to entertain. It's a great space. It's a lot of fun. You can play some golf. You don't have to worry about the rain. You don't have to worry about the heat. You don't have to worry about it getting dark early. You can just hit some golf shots into the simulator, have some fun with your friends. It's Swing Easy Golf Club. They're on Seagan at Perkins. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Pinhook Bourbon. We'll have craft cocktails, whiskey samples, previewing the Tigers and the Aggies. Join us for AFR 3 to 6, presented by Pinhook Bourbon.
Parish Construction and Roofing. This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs. From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
tomorrow's show, we'll go to College Station, get a preview of the Aggies. Talk to Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, as well. We'll talk to Luke Johnson from Saints camp, start to preview Saints as they welcome the Bucs into the Dome for a late afternoon kick on Sunday, 3:05 start time from the Dome. Curious what the tickets are costing for that one. I'm going to take a look at that on SeatGeek, see how that market's looking at this point, because obviously apathy setting in a little bit with some of the Saints fans. Then you feel like you got a team coming in that's pretty dadgum good that you might want to not want to watch your team instantly lose for. I feel like there are going to be some secondary marking cheapies on, and there may be for LSU and Texas A&M as well. Remains to be seen at this point, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I guess looking forward to tomorrow's show. For this show, just got one more order of business. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer. Perfect for tailgating. If you're getting to pick up some materials for the Saturday tailgate or for Sunday to watch the Hoodats, Flight by Yingling is always a great option. You're talking about 95 calories, talking about 2.6 carbs, talking about that flavor that you're looking for in a light beer. It is crisp, it is refreshing, it is delicious. I love it. My fridge is full of them at this very moment. It's Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
Okay, let's start this one off with a Chalmette High alum. Knicks center Mitchell Robinson is out tonight for the season opener. The reasoning is load management. Take it or leave it.
That's not right.
Yeah. Take it or leave it. Load managing in the first game of the season.
I'm going to leave it.
Leave it alone.
There has been no load to manage.
Literally.
There's not a load.
He's on the injury report
managed.
for load management for game 1 of the season.
I'm going to need some color on that. I don't. That just seems impossible.
Hey, look, I got you.
Is there a game tomorrow?
No. Today.
Well,
today against the 76ers, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Mitchell Robinson's out today with load management.
Pushed it a little too hard in the exhibition games? Pushed a little bit hard in the practice?
I just don't understand.
Is he hungover?
He might be. Look, when you're tall like that, it takes a lot. So he might just be a little dizzy, standing up too fast or something in that nature. But no, I couldn't believe it, so I had to bring it to your attention. Load management in game number 1. Never seen that before.
By the way, I'm pro load management. Whatever you got to do to win a championship. I don't care about paying customers that paid to see this guy when they came to the game. Nope, trying to win a championship. So I get it. It's an entertainment product. Money comes from the fans. I get the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to win a championship. So if I need a couple days off, need a couple days off.
Well, game number 1, we haven't even broken a sweat yet.
I would agree.
I said, okay, so this is when we're going to get a little spicy here. Russell Wilson and Sean Payton are back in the news, and they are at war. Payton said post-game after the Giants game, they found a little spark with the quarterback. I was talking to John Mayer, the owner of the Giants, not too long ago, and I said we are hoping that they would have made a change at quarterback long after our game. Wilson responded on Twitter last night, quote, classless, but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15-plus years later through the media. Hashtag let's ride. Did Sean Payton take a shot at Russ? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. He absolutely did. That was a shot. It's unnecessary, but guys have egos, and it just doesn't seem to serve Sean Payton to say that. But that's just the way he's generally carried himself. And Russ doesn't need to fire back either. You just carry on. You've made a lot of cash and won a Super Bowl, and it's going to be just fine. You don't have to get the respect of Sean Payton. I know things didn't go super awesome in the Mile High City there. It's just immaturity there, and it's something that you saw if you watch the Cowboys documentary of guys that just can't help themselves. And I'm not wired that way. I don't know why they feel the need to do that, but yeah, it was just an unnecessary shot by Payton that didn't necessarily need to be fired.
It's crazy. I will say this. I would have never expected Russell Wilson to fire back, though.
Yeah.
That's why I'm surprised at. I can see Sean. We know how Sean Payton get.
I do.
But the fact Russell Wilson responded and then, called a little bit of bounty gate. Hey, slow down, Russ. You had to put us in there, too. So that's all for take it or leave it today.
That's it for a little take it or leave it. Yesterday you were feeling good about the Pels. We still feeling good about the Pels?
Of course. And I'm pretty sure the line is like 4.5 Grizzlies. I'm smashing that all day. All day. Take it.
Where's this confidence coming from?
Oh, listen. I'm confident because
because they haven't played a game yet?
A little bit. It's a little bit of that delusion. You got to have – I've been drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. But at the same time, man, Zion, he's got to play. Money's on the line. He's got to play. He's healthy. You got Trey Murphy, who's looking to have a breakout year. If it's now, then it's never. That's how I feel. If it's now, then it's never. If it's not going to happen tonight, it's never going to happen. So that's why I'm feeling confident.
I think that may be a little ambitious for the first game of an 82-game season.
Well, because I didn't see the wheels fall off fast. So it's either now or never. It can go bad or real fast.
All right. We'll see. Pelicans tonight. I may mention that on tomorrow's show, but looking forward to the show tomorrow. If you missed any of today's show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Talked a little bit about LSU and their injury situation. Talked a little bit about the offensive line situation. Find all that at Hunt on LSU. Talked a lot about the Saints rookies and where those guys are midway through their first season. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Talked a little Tony Vitello leaving Knoxville. If you missed that today and the news was finalized, he is headed to the Giants. Matt's going to drive you home next on AFR. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place, with a Thursday edition. The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate